it's the program that governs everything going on in your life. Every result you have right now comes from the program of the unconscious mind. It can still be changed. Every decision you make, whether to do something or not to do something that perhaps you should be doing, is a vote for the consequence of that decision. I used this with a client once, and the impact on her was fantastic because she was mortified that she realized she'd been literally voting to be in the state that she was in. And given that politics was one of the great forces of life, which is why I used the word vote, the first time I ever thought to use it, I now use it in most of the stuff. So if you know you need to go to the gym and get that workout in to get rid of the stress or to build some muscle or burn some calories away, but you choose to stay at home and have a chocolate cake instead, you've just voted for the results of chocolate cake. So while you can say it's their fault, it's their fault, it's their fault, the actual fault is indicated by the three fingers pointing right back, the person who voted for the result. And I want you to really think about that, either while I'm still talking or at some point, just think about what you've been voting for in how you show up in your everyday life. Not just at work, but as a son, as a daughter, as a wife, as a husband, as a father, as a mother. Every decision you make is a vote for the consequence and the result of that decision. So you can easily vote for something new, right? That's the main message. Every vote is a result, gives you the result, and it will be in your career, it will be in your finances, it will be in your health, and especially your intimate relationships. So be careful what you're voting for and decide to vote for something else if you don't like what you're currently getting. That alone will decide whether or not you fly high and keep rocketing and soaring, or whether it goes in the opposite direction. That's entirely up to you by taking control of what you're deciding. The other thing you can decide to do is what you focus on. And this is so easy to do because everyone I've talked to so far, I'm unconsciously looking, and I'm consciously through the coaching work to see where you are habitually focused. So are you focusing on what's right or what's wrong? Emerson once said, a man is what he thinks about all day long. Now, police officers in particular, because of what they're coping with right now, in-house as well as from the outside coming in, you're thinking mostly about what's wrong. And you're talking about what's wrong. And then you go home to your family, you're talking about what's wrong. Guys, if you're the person who's at home with a police officer coming back telling you what's wrong about their day, in fact, I think I said this to someone last week, you need to agree a boundary, a segment of time where that's okay to be supportive. But after that, you stop focusing on what's wrong. One of my mentors, a very famous quote he has, is what's wrong is always available, but so is what's right. And what I learned when I've had depression twice. The worst was just after the police service, and again a few years later on. What I realized is the words that we think and then speak become the house we live in. House, of course, meaning life. So by focusing on what's wrong and then speaking about it and constantly replaying and replaying and replaying, what happens in the brain, the synapses in the brain, I wish I had more time, they start making new connections. And in the quantum theory, they say what fires together wires together. So the same message repeated over and over and over and over wires together and then becomes an automatic feeling. So you just wake up feeling crap and you think it's for no reason. Well, it still stems back from thinking, or as I like to call it, stinking thinking. And it can be changed. So what else do you focus on? Do you focus on what you have or what you don't have or what you think you should have but don't have? Only you can answer these questions. In a conversation, I can reflect it back to you because I can hear it in every sentence you say to me. But these are just rhetorical questions for you right now. If you want, you can engage me in the comments below, or if you prefer to still stay, because you guys are a little bit quiet at the moment. If you want to talk to me direct, as some people are doing, you can do that through Messenger. This group is where we can engage. LinkedIn is just for finding out who's interested. That's all. I can't really engage on there because it's public, and there are people from all sorts of weird industries following the page at the moment for some reason. Anyway, so do you focus on what you have or what you don't have? The next one, do you focus mostly on what you want or what you don't want? This is very much future focused thinking. Most are fearing what they don't want, and they're constantly living in this energy of fear. Well, you know how that works. Your words become the house you live in, right? Self-fulfilling prophecy will come from constantly living in fear of something happening. You're only going to attract that. And I'm skating along the edge of going woo-woo, and I'm trying to avoid it. But this is quantum physics, and physics is science-backed fact that every thought has a frequency on it. And if you're constantly putting that frequency out, like attracts like, and boom, you're going to get exactly what you don't want. All of this can be changed. And that's what I'm telling you about. It can be changed. The last one is, do you focus mostly on the past? So constantly replaying, frankly, the shit that's been going on, what somebody said to you and the way they said it, and how angry and furious you are about that, or what they did do that they shouldn't have done, or what they didn't do that they should have done, and how dare they? And if you're looping and looping and looping, remember the synapses will wire that. Boom. And if you'll wake up in the morning and you'll just remember the past, and you'll live today just like you lived yesterday and the day before and the day before and the day before. Guys, using NLP, this can be switched. 30 minutes, boom, this can be disconnected and gotten rid of quite easily. Do you spend time thinking about the future? Well, that's good if it's about what you want in the future. But most people don't do that because we're just not aware that we have this level of control. Thinking about the future in terms of, oh, if I leave the job, if I leave the police and then I don't get a job, what's going to happen? I've got the mortgage. Oh, then my spouse isn't used to me being around all the time, and I'm already getting on his or her nerves. Oh God, what's going to happen? No. That's the wrong kind of future thinking. Or do you spend more time thinking in the now? Well, even in the now, that's good. So let me give you the kind of ratio that a good, successful person, and this is based on 20 years working with CEOs, the C-suite executives of big companies that are really successful in terms of, and I don't mean money, I mean in terms of how they feel, the well-being, their energy, the vibrancy, their ability to step up and get the job done and get results, everything, a whole holistic balance in all areas of life. The way to do that is to spend most of your time in the now, present. Be present with the people, especially outside of the police service, because we must, I'm saying we because I know I was a real pain in the butt when I was going through what you're going through now. But if we can learn to just take a breath and be present with the people, you're going to make a massive impact, not only on the relationships, but on how you feel. So a good formula will be you spend more time in the present. You occasionally scan forward into the future to what you want, and then come back to the present. And occasionally you go to the past for reference of what you know didn't work and how not to do that again. So the past is like a library. It's just a reference where you pop back occasionally. And if you like, it's just like driving a car, right? You drive in the car, you'll be looking mostly about just in front of the car, then you'll scan into the distance to check for hazards. But if you spend all your time driving the car looking in the rearview mirror, it's just inevitable what's going to happen. Well, your life is the same, your job's the same, your career is the same, your relationships are the same, your finances are the same, and your health and fitness is the same as well. So master the skill of being present. And one way to do that, just throw this in for free, appreciation. People say gratitude, but I don't like the word gratitude. For me, gratitude has an energy of thank God that's over. Appreciation is finding thanks in all things, finding something that even when it's all caving in on you, you could still take a breath and find something to appreciate. Whether it's something about your own health, your ability to see or something like that, if you want to go to that level, or whether you've got someone who, despite you being a complete unbearable ass for the last however many weeks or months, they're still there for you and showing up every day, then that's certainly something to be appreciative. Or you've got kids or even pets, I don't care what it is. You can just focus and feel the appreciation, it neutralizes all of this negativity. It's absolutely essential if you to start really working with mastering mindset. And the final thing is, when something happens, what meaning do you attach to that? And again, this is something I learned in a very painful way, and it took me a long time to get my head around it. When something happens and we don't like it, most of our suffering comes not from the thing that happened, but from our opinion about the injustice of it or our resistance to it. Once we can learn to just let that go and resist our egoic reaction to an event or an incident of some sort, then we can more readily respond. And that's what we're looking for here. Instead of react, to respond. Even the word respond, it's got that space around it, hasn't it? Where you just take a pause, hold on the reaction, take a breath, count to 10. That's why they say count to 10, right? And then choose a measured response. It's so much healthier for you, especially if you've already got PTSD or depression or anything like that. Learning to respond is a major step forward in what's going to be next for you. So we've looked at strategy, we've looked at the story, and we've looked now at the state and those various sections that you can use to now change your state. Far better to do some work on your state first. From there, when you're feeling good, when you're feeling like the person that I see you as, because even though we haven't met personally yet, the fact that you did that job, as I said earlier, already elevates you. There's already a greatness within you that's about justice and righteousness and doing the right thing. So that shining light inside of you, if you can now step into that and own it, now your story will change automatically. You won't accept limitation anymore because you'll stamp all over it and step on it and use it as a stepping stone to your next thing. And then from that new story, from here, now choose your strategy. Now write your CV. Now make your job applications for the jobs that you deserve instead of the alternative that we talked about earlier. Because if Marcus Aurelius, actually, a lovely quote, I like using quotes. Marcus Aurelius said, our lives are what our thoughts make it. So imbue your self-image with all of this positive thinking about yourself. And by the way, positive thinking alone does not work. It's BS. But when it's in this system of habitually reminding yourself about how awesome you are, that will become who you are. It'll become your life. So if you're thinking thoughts about failing in the future, you're going to fail. If you're thinking about success in the future, you're going to succeed. It's just the way it works, right? Really try this. I've got to close now because I've been going on way too long. That's what I do on training. I'm so sorry. I hope it's adding some value that shake you mentally, if not physically, to not allow people to all over you. You know what I was going to say. I have to censor myself. Anyway, turn those skills that you've honed inwards. Here's a nice metaphor I just thought of. Some of you may have done surveillance, right? Either for hours or days or weeks or months or even years on some of the bigger cases. So you've been a step removed, objectively observing the movements and the behaviors of certain individuals and making a log, right? If you can, from today, from this training, objectively step away from your own thoughts and start to surveil them in the framework of what I've given you, you focus on what's right, what's wrong, what's the future, the past, the present, and so on. Use that as your grid and track how much of your thinking is thinking. That awareness alone is about 50% of the whole journey of transformation. Because then you can catch yourself and choose, decide a better way. So use that skill. All right. I wanted to say this before, but I got from all of the work that I've done with all of these people, It's an absolute fact. There's success in anything. And be careful with the word success, because people just think it means a bank balance. It doesn't. It can be success in a relationship, success in your health and fitness, success in any area of your life that's important to you. It's 80% psychology and only 20% strategy. Take the best traders in the world who are making the billions. It's 80% psychology, 20% strategy. And your transition from where you are now to whatever that's going to be for you, and I hope it's something amazing, is exactly the same. 80% psychology, the bottom two parts of this model, and 20% strategy, the stuff that other people are telling you is the be all and end all of the change. So please bear that in mind as you go forward. And then when you get to the question of that light at the end of the tunnel, is it a train or is it actually a new opportunity that you can run towards? You'll know, you'll feel the difference. And it's why I think I posted it on somewhere the other day, LinkedIn, I think. There's a huge difference in the energy between leaving. Let me start again. There's a huge energy difference between going somewhere new to escape where you are versus leaving where you are to go somewhere new. It's a completely different feeling. One of them is with the baggage, and the other one is without the baggage, leaving you absolutely clear, confidence with clarity and a vision, which is what I call the experience and the freedom of transformational change. Because once you learn to master this, you're completely free of all of the negativity and the baggage that comes with change. So I hope that is useful. I hope maybe watch it again, skip through and find your favorite parts. What I can say to you, you know what I do in terms of my overall business. If you are genuinely stuck right now, daunted, overwhelmed, lost, absolutely clueless of how to get out of it, then what I do with all of these trainings, you'll notice as we go through, in the next 2 days, I've left spaces in my calendar that if you want to, you can jump on the call with me one-to-one and in full privacy, and we can shine a light on where you are, pull some threads of what's keeping you stuck and blocked, and give you some ideas for your next steps. Now, of course, I do this because I want to help you. But here's the other thing. If during that call, if I get a sense that you might be a great fit for the Warrior of Change coaching program, I'll invite you to consider that as an option. It won't change the fact I'm going to help you anyway. Whether we work together or whether we don't, it's my commitment to be on the badge to serve those who serve by giving you what I can without, of course, giving everything away for free, because I know people won't use it then and won't value it because it'll become a university of YouTube. And so if you are normally, because I accept that right now you might be like head in hands and wondering what the heck you're going to do. But if you are normally a decisive, resourceful, open-minded, and coachable person, police officer, and during our call, I get a sense that you'll be a great fit, meaning that you'll run with the ball and you'll get the results that working together I want you to get, then jump on to that link that you can see on the screen now. You'll be taken to my calendar, pick a date and a time that works for you. Then there's a few questions, which is just to give me a sense of where you're at. And then you'll get a link to talk to me on Zoom. We'll get on that call. We'll have a deep dive actually into where you are in full confidence. No one will ever know that you've even talked to me, let alone what you've said. And at the very minimum, you'll leave with some more clarity, a bit more confidence, a bit more preparedness and readiness, some more mental fortitude, perhaps, to face the next steps that you're facing. And then, of course, as I said, if I feel that you're a great fit, and of course, if you think I'm going to be a good fit for you because it's a team effort, and I'll tell you why this is important to me. With my clients, I love my clients dearly. I respect them beyond anything else in my life. And I love to wake up in the morning knowing that today I get to work with A, B, C, D, and E, or whoever. And it excites me. It gets me out of bed in the morning. And that's how I want you to feel about it too. So it's not for now, it's for another time. But if you feel like that's you and you want to have that call, you just need a little nudge, little tweak of the dials, then use that link, and I look forward to seeing you on there. And that, my dear friends, is it for this. A lot longer than the 15 minutes I planned, but I can't help myself. I just love what I do. I love to serve, and I really hope that you got something out of it. So let me know in the comments below, please, or at the very least in the private comments if you want to do that on Messenger. I need your feedback because I need to know if I'm hitting the mark. I need to know what you really need. Now that you know I'm not just about strategy, there's a lot more work to be done. There's a lot more stuff to share. Let me know what you need and I'll give it to you happily. All right, guys, thanks for watching and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.